All opinions and views expressed by the speakers are not representative of views and opinions of RBC Dominion Securities, Inc. All information and opinions provided in this video are in good faith, but without legal responsibility.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fast Five. My name is Rob Smith, and we've got a real special episode for you today. I'm honored to be joined by the Greg Thompson here, who just celebrated his 30th year of being in the business. That's right, 30. Being quite the milestone, we thought it would be appropriate to take some time to reflect on those 30 years and talk a little bit about the evolution of the industry and what you've learned. So, Greg, how are we feeling at 30 here? Any opening remarks?
It's surprising to some degree how quickly it goes by. You know, people always say that, and then when it happens to you, it's kind of crazy when you stop back and think, and when you sit back and think about it. It's humbling.
You bet. So why don't we start at the beginning here? Can you maybe give us a Cole's notes on the progression of your career and maybe highlight some of the things that have changed over the years?
Yeah, no problem. I've always been really surprised that I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do when I was 12 years old. And I've always been counting myself very lucky that I'm in that position. In the 30 years that I started the business, you know, the business has changed so much, and I think in most ways for the better. When I got into the business, you tried to find a stock that would go up, and if it went up, then you'd sell it and then try and find the next stock that was going to go up. And the discipline was not there. Neither was, you know, the financial planning, the wealth management that we do. And there's a difference between investment management and wealth management. And we see it all the time when we meet new clients where, you know, they may have investment management, but not looking at the wills, the insurance, the powers of attorney, the transitioning from one generation to the next, the bringing the younger generation up so that when there is assets folding down to them down the road, it isn't something that's overwhelming. You know, and again, one of the bigger things, and this is part of being 30 years in the business, is when you lose somebody, and it's a situation where obviously there's a great deal of sadness, but it's also overwhelming for the person left behind at times, and helping that person through that time, you know, is something that is important to us. You know, you can never be fully prepared, but if you can make sure to include everybody that's in the family in the decision-making process, you know, that makes life less overwhelming at the time. Still not easy, but just takes out a little bit of the hardship. And that is completely different from when I first started in this industry. Again, it was just so male-dominated then, and it's so much better now in that regard.
Okay. Anything you maybe lament or would have done differently?
I don't think I'd do anything differently because it got me to where I am now. I wish I would have learned earlier that the less you lose, the more you make. Don't try and be a superstar and think you're smarter than the market. Nobody is. I think that you know, the biggest thing to learn is that you're not smarter than the market. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So build in safeguards for, you know, have your point of view, but realize you might not be right, and build in safeguards in case you're not.
Okay. So through all the time that you've spent in the industry, what's been your favorite part? What's been, you know, keeping you coming back to seize each day?
Well, you know, quite honestly, there's a lot of favorite parts. Working with my team is great. You guys are all so much fun. B, working with my clients. One of the greatest things about my job is I get to meet so many different people, see so many different things. It's amazing how many different jobs there are. It's amazing how many different businesses there are. And while some, like, they all share common threads, they're all different. Understanding those differences, working with those people to make sure that we get their ideas and they get to their goals is super important. And then I love still managing the money. You asked me earlier if there's anything I lament. I lament that less advisors individually manage the money anymore. And, sometimes I feel that it's so institutionalized, that little voice or that cacophony of little voices that make the market somewhat get drowned out, and it's more momentum and trend following. And I think that overall equity markets are worse for the fact that it's concentrated in fewer hands. The changes that we see in the market are much less diverse. And I don't think that's good for the market. I think it's important that we understand the market. I think we owe it to our clients that we are students of the market.
Okay. So you've given us a few pieces of wisdom here already, but are there maybe two things that stand out as specific lessons or things you've learned over the years?
Well, again, and these are all just cliches. You're not as smart when you're beating the market, and you're not as stupid as you think when the market's going down. The biggest thing actually and it takes time to learn this, is that you have to accept both the ups and the downs, and you have to take advantage of both. Markets don't go straight up. And so, when markets are going down, and especially when they're really going down, and there's just that, 2, 3, 4 months or even a year of a down market, you have to concentrate on how you build the portfolio for when the market eventually rises again. The market is up 70% of the time. It was down 30% of the time. And so take advantage of both, accept that it's going to happen. Don't get caught up in the emotion of the market. I guess that would be the second lesson, is just park your emotions. Do not love anything. Do not hate anything. Accept what the market gives you and take advantage of what you can. And then I guess the last thing would be always be learning. I'm very lucky at Dominion Securities, which is, I moved from Nesbitt. I think Nesbitt's a good firm, but I think Dominion Securities is the best firm. And we're one of the few firms that still hires young people. And I love working with the new advisors coming on. It's nice to share what I've learned. They don't need to repeat the mistakes I made. But I also need to learn what they're doing, because, the one constant is change. And I think that, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that accepting change and growing with change and learning to be better, embracing the wealth management aspect of the business. For advisors that never embraced it or don't put the money into it or time into it, I think that's a mistake, and they won't grow their business, and they won't do what they need for their clients.
Fair enough. Okay. So in classic Greg fashion here, here's one question that we didn't kind of prep you for. So a bit of a curveball. Now, we emphasize the team approach a lot between us and our estate specialists, commercial lending, private banking partners, retail branches. But, could you talk a little bit about your team and how helpful and wonderful they are?
Well, again, that is something that I really had to learn. And they are incredibly helpful because, again, I talked about all the different things that we do. And, I could not do it unless we had really defined people doing different things. Meredith makes sure the trains run on time. She makes sure the checks get out. She answers well, everybody answers the phone. We always answer the phone. But the stuff that she does on the administrative side, and administration is crazy these days, because of, unfortunately, the increased amount of fraud attacks and regulation. The job that Meredith has, I wouldn't wish on anybody. And then yourself and Devin helping me both with client service and managing the money. There's just so much to do. And so, everybody has their role, and I've had to accept that I can't be everything and do everything. And that's not easy to learn when you start out and you are doing everything, to relinquish and trust. And I'm lucky enough that I can trust the people that are on my team, and there's no way my clients would have the experience that they've have without my team around me. And my team extends far beyond just Meredith, Devin, and yourself. There's James, who helps us with estate planning on the insurance side. There's Doreen. There's my branch manager, Catherine. There's so many people behind the scenes. There's the people down in Toronto in our home office now that we can just call up and just, this new legislation that's coming due, what's it going to affect? My client has this situation. How can we work with them on it? It's amazing the depth that we have that I can reach out to with my partners, and the people behind the scenes at Dominion Securities. Like, it really is, without sounding too much like a homer here, it really is one RBC, and that's what I've enjoyed about being here. But and it has changed so much from when I started. But it's it's great, and there's still, it's been 30 years, but there's still a lot of years ahead of me, because if I was to try and retire, my wife would not let me be at home that much. It would not be good. So I'm here for quite a while yet. So so you're stuck with me still.
Well, thank you for those words, and thanks for coming on today. And I think that about wraps it up. We actually might have one more thing here. Oh, look at that!
Oh my God! Now that was a surprise. Well, thank you very much, and thank you to all my clients that, the three of you that might watch this, and I know I went over the 5 minutes again, but this is a surprise, and thanks to everybody.